Kansas Davis.
Recruiting-wise this week, how many coaches will you send out? Where will you go? What are you allowed to do, I guess, recruiting-wise right now?
We can do scholastic evaluations or in-game evaluations. There's no sit down and talk to where you actually have a contact. So we will scour our areas, certainly. It's always great for us to have coaches out in certain areas. I do think in our geographical area we've got a pretty good pulse on where guys are at, so we'll probably stretch our wings a little bit. And not to discount, I'm sure we'll be in Colorado, Wyoming some, Nebraska some. Those are our primary footprint areas. But then, we'll be down in Texas some. We'll be out in California some. We're probably going to be in Chicago some as well.
Will all your assistants be out?
No, not all of them. We'll have a skeleton crew here. Our practice days will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll have a late afternoon, early evening practice on Saturday. Yes, Robert.
Marcus Epps obviously has been very good for you, but he's also been pretty versatile this year with different matchups and offenses, and also some injuries. He's been playing some corner. How versatile has he been, and what positions has he played, and just how good has he been at kind of playing two or three multiple positions so far this season?
Well, that's a big challenge that Marcus has really embraced. He's played, safety. He's played in the deep middle. He's played nickel for us. He came here initially as a corner, so he has good athleticism. But beyond that, he's a really bright, insightful player, and so that's given us a great deal of flexibility. It's always hard to double train, but it's kind of where we're at right now, and that's given us a luxury to take Tyler Hall, who we feel like it was an excellent nickel, but also has been now a really good corner on the outside. And so, we release a depth chart there. It's been pretty static, but quite frankly, that changes during the course of a game.
It's just a follow-up with Tyler again. You mentioned he's been a very good corner and a good nickel. Is he kind of either or depending on opponent down and distance situations? Is he just kind of one of those either or guys?
A little bit, and some of it comes into our game plan, and some of it comes into the team that we're playing, and we're trying to get our best matchups on the field. Just
Coach, talk about Sean. You say you want to throw or would like to throw more. Is there any sort of concern that you haven't been able to, just in case it comes up, in these last couple of games, or I guess?
Well, I can tell you this: we need to continue to work in 2 minute. We stubbed our toe there, and I think in another situation probably would have been a little bit different. With the situation dictated once we fumbled the football and then we got way behind the sticks, we just didn't want to put ourselves in position where we're going to give up the football. But we need to improve there. And then the other thing, I think, certainly we're play action passing well right now, and the last touchdown was a play action pass. He can throw the ball really well, but I think it's going to be important this week to take another step forward to make sure our playbook is not so narrow. But we're not going to do all the same things we did with Josh, with Sean. We're not, but I think it's going to be important that we expand some.
Does his running ability really open up that play option pass and create things where they can't commit?
I can tell you, when your quarterback runs, it changes the whole mindset of a defensive coordinator and a defense, because that's typically, say like in the NFL game, a hat that you don't have to account for. Now you have to account for that guy as far as scrambling, or sometimes you can do some things to where he's going to place the football. But in the college game, when he can run like that, all the run pass option plays, all the play action pass plays, all the things where he's out on a corner, and then also there's no question in my mind some of Nico's success with some of the runs that have popped. Now the linebackers, their eyes have got to be at another place as well, and so anytime you run your quarterback that much, you're always exposing him to injury. But our mindset is we're in a one-game series, and so we're going to run him and then play action when we need to, and that has really been very effective. The play action pass game has come alive simply because of his ability.
The type of situation where if you gauged a pulse a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, clearly different have you noticed a different pulse between players' attitudes, mentalities, the way that they approach the game, from practices to conversation? Now that Sean has kind of taken the helm and becoming a little bit more evolved, I guess, for lack of a better term, game after game after game, and obviously headed into this Air Force matchup next week.
I don't want to overstate his presence because it's a team game. I can tell you that our energy in practice, and that's always a different feeling, but you kind of know it as a coach. Our practice habits, the intensity level of the enthusiasm has continued to improve. Now, I think beyond Sean, there's a lot of other reasons for that, but certainly I think the number of plays that Sean has made has been great. It was interesting in the game. James Price is a guy who caught a lot of balls against Colorado State, did not catch a ball last week, but on Sean's last run, James was shielding somebody and then blocked him and then led Sean into the end zone with great speed. I think our football team, we've got an excited football team right now, and to say that they're 180 degrees difference from what they were a couple weeks ago, I don't know if we could say that, but I know this, we're a heck of a lot different. And like I said, football teams don't stay the same. You either get better or you get worse, and we're getting better. And so the attitude, the enthusiasm, embracing the challenges, and us doing what we can to beat Air Force. And last week our team was really focused on San Jose State. And so they've been a fun group to work with. Yes, sir.
Obviously, any bye week's good, but when you face Air Force and that option, that unique offense, seen it and stuff, but to have an extra week, I imagine it's never a bad thing.
Oh no, we probably won't be working on Air Force at all this week, Robert. I'm saying that tongue in cheek. That's Coach Calhoun, and the schemes that they do are really, really challenging. And they've forgotten more about defending the triple option than what we know. And I think we're pretty adept at that, but it's a big, big challenge. And so we'll take advantage of the time that we have. There's no doubt in my mind. Yes.
How has Tyler handled being benched, and what's his attitude been like since being demoted?
It's been good. The times I've talked to Tyler, he's always taking notes. He's paying attention when he's not taking reps. He's been encouraging during plays when the defense is on the field. All the quarterbacks are there. He's been really a great, I wouldn't say cheerleader for Sean, because Sean doesn't necessarily need a cheerleader, but he's been a really good teammate. And I think that's indication of where we're at as a football team. There's not guys out there that don't have a selfish agenda, and we appreciate Tyler. And Tyler's, there may come a time when his services are needed, and he's prepared for that.
And after a few weeks with Dante punting, what have kind of been your thoughts? Have you seen improvement? I know the play against San Jose where he dropped the ball, but got the first down was a very athletic play. I know probably a little too close for you, but how would you just kind of assess his progress since he's become your back?
He's really got a live leg, and he could boom it before, but now he's booming it more consistently, and so we're excited about that. I also know that certainly, the snap was low. He kind of fumbled it, and he scooped it up, and another guy who didn't have that kind of running ability may not have gotten the first down, and it wasn't like it was any big deal for him. I mean, he just went and ran for the sticks, and so that's a weapon that we maybe need to explore some more. But he does have a really live leg. I mean, in practice, he's been able to really launch him, and we'll continue to work with that. I thought in the Colorado State game that had a big impact in part of our victory, and him taking that fumbled snap or muff snap and getting a first down had a big impact as well. I think, yes.
To see Nico, to go from where he was the last 3 years to being the type of running back he is this year, was there that big a transformation with him from 1 year to the next year?
I would say yes, and that started in the weight room in the winter. Constantly I'd gotten feedback from our strength coaches about his progress, his due diligence, his attention to detail, and then his list began to change. And so our strength coaches had talked to me a couple times. Boy, Nico's having a great winter, and there are some guys that make strides in the weight room, and it really doesn't translate to what goes on in the grass. Then he did well in the spring game, and so you kind of started to look. And then, the times during this year, he's got really good vision. And where he has changed is he's got an extra gear. I mean, and he's pulled away, whether it's Boise or last week, time and time again, he's pulled away from defenders. And as you know, I think Boise's got guys that can really run in the secondary. He ran away from those guys, and he ran away from the San Jose State guys. And so he's really turned into being an excellent running back, being patient. And I think Nico is a case in point that goes 180 degrees difference from everybody else right now in college football. If I'm not playing, if I'm not, quote, the man, I'm leaving. And here's a guy that had put his time in, was a reserve running back, was more or less a guy that we utilized on pass protections, hardly ever run. And here's a guy that, waited his turn, and not just waited, he improved, he embraced the opportunity that he was given, and he's an excellent runner, and I think his numbers are bearing that out.
In light of the 3 previous years, has that been maybe the biggest, most pleasant surprise of this season?
Mm-hmm. Whenever you look as a coach, there are guys that you go in and you say, their last year is going to be their best year. And sometimes that's not the case. This is definitely the case for Nico. He has had a great year, and it's heartwarming for me to see a guy who's come in and been a reserve player and not complained, been an ultimate teammate, and now all of a sudden he's enjoying. I'm sure he's getting some national attention. You don't put up those kind of numbers without people taking note, but he's been the ultimate teammate. So that's a case in point of keeping your nose to the grindstone, be a good team player, work your butt off, and good things happen.
Offense sparking defense seems to be a theme that's kind of building. Defensively, are there any deficiencies? I know that there were some passes that kind of get away over the middle on the right side, and I think teams are a lot more cognizant of Sean being able to provide a different dimension offensively. As far as other teams planning and scheming to try to run or on the pass, is there more of a comfort level between either or, pass coverage or stopping the run up front?
I would have to say right now that and we're really going to get tested by Air Force rushing the football. But if you just looked at our numbers and people who have tried to consistently move the ball on the ground, especially lately, that's really not been the case. And it really wasn't against Fresno. I don't think Fresno ran the ball on the ground very well. So you'd have to look and say, okay, we need to make sure that we can play some good pass defense. Now, part of it is just, how we deploy our guys. Usually we're +1 in the box, and so we're going to say you're going to have to throw the ball, make you have to react to it. And so, but we're pleased with where we're at, run defensively wise. We're going to continue to work on that, and I think now we've got to improve probably some things in the back 7. Yeah. Yes.
Cooper Golf has been still consistent for you this year. What has it been like having that kind of weapon at a kicking spot for you?
Well, it's been really encouraging, and we also knew the first field goal, I think, or the second one, the one was a long one into the wind, was going to be a pretty risky shot, but we felt like he had a good enough leg to get it there, and he missed, I believe, just to the right. A lot of those points have added up, and he's been really consistent. He's owned his work. He spends a great deal of time watching himself. We videotape a lot of his kicks, and so he's been a real student of the game. And he did last week. He did a great job on the kickoff. I think the first kickoff was into the wind, and he put it in the end zone. And so he's been another senior that's really done well. Yes.
Is that still kind of day-to-day, Watts?
Yes. We'll find out a little bit more tomorrow. It's nothing it was pretty serious. I mean, his kneecap slipped. We're looking at strengthening that. The indication that I'd been given was, he's going to be able to be in position to play this week. Last week he could have played, but it would have been a real emergency. And we'll look at where we're at on the depth chart, and we'll work him this week some, and then make that determination next week at this time.
Is there any further update on Johanna's situation?
Nope. Still, I don't have any information.
Is he still in Laramie?
I couldn't comment on that. I don't know. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.